Hi, everyone, and a happy Giving Tuesday to you. For those that don't know, Giving Tuesday is the Tuesday every year after Thanksgiving, after Black Friday, and it's essentially the same concept as Black Friday, except instead of buying something for yourself, you instead purchase something for somebody else. Giving Tuesday also marks um, the last day of the Selfless Solutions fundraising year. Um, we kicked it off this November with an in-person event in my hometown in Altoona, Pennsylvania, and we're ending it here with our last major fundraising campaign on Giving Tuesday. The campaign today, the focus of which is going to be on our education projects in Tanzania. Um, so that's where the money from this fundraiser goes um, to those projects, to our sponsor program and our e-learning project, and to the staff that make that all possible. So our goal this year is to raise $10,000. Last year we were able to raise 7,000. That's going to go a long way towards continuing our operations into next year, as well as some expansions that we have planned. So the last 4 years running our projects, we've learned a lot, and we want to make some really important improvements in the way we serve the communities there in Tanzania. And so I know everybody's probably at this point getting tired of hearing from me about our projects and everything going on in Tanzania. So I thought today, instead of just me babbling on and on, we'll bring on our Tanzania leadership team. Mark Matola, our president there in Tanzania, as well as Aneth Masawe, our project manager, so that they can tell you a little bit more about the projects in their own words. So I'm going to bring them on here real quick, and then we'll get started. All right, Aneth, I just sent you an invite, and then Mark, I will send you an invite in a second. Hi, Aneth.
Hi, Pat.
How are you?
I'm fine.
See if I can get Mark on here.
Okay.
Hopefully, I can add to. I've never added to before. What's up, Aneth? It's what time there now?
Around
Around 15, you said?
16.
16.
Yeah.
All right, Mark, if you're watching, it says it's adding.
I thought you tried before.
What's that?
No, I thought you tried before adding two people. Like before this, I thought you tried doing it.
Nope, here we go. We're just doing it live. I figured we'd figure it out as we go. Hi, Mark.
Hey, how are you, Pat?
How are you doing today?
I'm all right. How are you? Can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear.
Oh, great.
All right, so Aneth and Mark, thank you for joining me today. Like I said, I think at this point, everybody's probably getting a little tired of me talking about Selfless Solutions, and I've had the pleasure to interact with you both, over these past couple years working together. But I don't think a lot of other people have had the chance to hear from you, hear your passion, your ideas, your thoughtfulness. So I'm happy to have you guys here today. To start, could you guys just introduce yourself to everybody that is watching and might potentially be watching this in the future? You know, starting with you, Mark. Tell us a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and what you're doing now.
Uh, um, my name is Mark Matolo, and at the moment I live in Arusha, Tanzania. It's on the east part of Africa, and I have been working with Selfless Solutions for about 2 years now. Uh, as of now, I'm operating as the president and also the media social media moderator. So yeah, that's basically it.
Aneth, how about you?
Okay, so my name is Annette Masawe. I also live here in Arusha, and currently I work with Selfless Solution as the project manager. It has been a year now since I started working with Selfless Solutions.
So I guess I'll just pose this question to you both, and whoever wants to answer first can go for it. Um, can you talk a little bit about like day to day what you do for Selfless Solutions and why you work with Selfless Solutions?
Okay, so I'll start with why I work with Selfless Solutions. So I heard about Selfless Solution from Mark, and I was intrigued to be part of it because what Selfless is doing aligns with my goals and aspiration. I've always wanted to support and help people in the community just because of my background, where I come from. I come from an environment with a mix of people, like the rich, the poor, and the normal ones. So, coming from a normal family, I had a chance to enjoy all the benefits, unlike those from poor families. So, I went to a public school, and in a public school, as we know, the conditions are not good. There are no teachers, there are no textbooks, uh, and it's a mix of kids from poor families and normal families. But for my parents, they could afford to pay for extra tutoring classes for me. And I turned out to be the best student in class, unlike those from poor families. We were about 200 kids in class, but at the end of the national exam, only 50 of us passed. So this made me feel bad actually. And I was like, why not all of us passing and go on with our education? Because we were a mix of people with different goals, talents, and skills. But the only thing missing was these people couldn't afford even to buy textbooks and even joining extra classes to gain more knowledge and do well in class. That is why I became more motivated and inspired to bridge this gap. And when I heard about Selfless Solution and what they're doing, I said, okay, I want to be part of this team. That is why I'm part of Selfless Solution.
Well, we are obviously extremely happy to have you, Aneth. This past year or so working with you has been fantastic. We appreciate. I mean, I'm sure everybody watching can hear your passion for the subject, and it comes across in your work every day. So I love the passion and of course the insight and the idea. So we're extremely happy to have you. Mark, how about you? Why did you decide to join Selfless Solutions and work with us?
Okay, thank you for the opportunity, Pat. Well, as most people who would be watching this, some would know what Selfless Solutions stands for, and some wouldn't. But it's more about connecting people and bringing together resources so that we can share what we have with the less fortunate people. And that is kind of the thing that I live for as well, trying to help people as much as possible because especially in countries like ours, in most countries in Africa, not all people have the same opportunities. Not all people are capable of having those basic things that every person should have. And Selfless Solutions' main goal is to make sure all these people, make sure as much people as possible, especially unprivileged children, get these opportunities early on, such as a good education, good healthcare. So when I had this understanding of Selfless Solutions, I had every reason to join the movement and be a part of them. And I did choose to work with Selfless Solutions because, as as I've kind of hinted earlier, as one person you can only do so much. But with Selfless Solutions, I've met quite a lot of people, Pat included, Annette, and other people who are working with us in other countries. All these people coming together and bringing every sort of skill and expertise and influence to share our mission and the goals we're trying to accomplish. This is the only way I believe this is the only way that we can actually get to make a difference to most people.
I guess, thank you for that, Mark. I guess, the next question that would come to mind is, we started working a couple years ago when I met you. We had a lot of goals of making a difference in the community. From what we've seen so far, would you say we are achieving that, or I guess how do you see our progress so far?
Well, when I started working with you, Pat, we had a little bit over, I think, between 10 to 20 kids that are having access to having access to a good private school education. But now we have 85 kids, and probably they're going to get to 100 by January. So that itself is a lot of progress. Those are over 100 lives that are getting this whole new opportunity to reach their full potential career-wise and academically. Also, it has brought together so many people from different places. When you started Selfless Solutions, it was just when you started Selfless Solutions, it was just you and a few people you knew. Then I came on board, Annette came on board, and several other people now from Denmark, from France also came on board. But all these are people from entirely different places and cultures and beliefs. But we are sharing a common goal, and that alone by itself says something about Selfless Solutions. We're trying to bring people together as much as possible, and to me, that's progress.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. Why we started this way back when was just to give people a vehicle that if they wanted to do something in the world that aligned with our mission and values, we would give them a place where they could pursue it. And it's definitely very encouraging to me to be able to see that, especially when we started with only a couple people, and now we have, between supporters, board members, volunteers, probably getting close to 50 people that are somewhat involved. It's been really neat to see, and that's what honestly keeps me going. There's times when I wasn't so sure that this was going to work out, as I bet you were asking your head, what are these people trying to do? Where is this going to go? But every time somebody new jumped in, that to me was motivation to keep going. And Annette, you're, as our project manager, you probably have the most, not probably, you definitely have the most day-to-day interaction with the people and beneficiaries of our programs. I mean, we ran this campaign this past week, sharing videos of Seth, Shukrani, Shabani, education leaders in the community there in Arusha where we serve. what are you seeing as you're now coming up upon a year working with us, as you're out there interacting with the community every day?
Okay. So far, I can changes like when you go to academic report, you can see the progress, not only the academic reports, but when you talk to them, you can see some really changes, unlike the kids who did not get this opportunity. Also, another thing is for our e-learning program, like I was until now, I can see a very big difference, like from when we enrolled those kids and now. Like a child could not even, introduce him or herself in English, but now they can do it confidently. So all I can say is we're progressing, and the progress is positively as we intended.
So with the e-learning project, I mean, we just started that in March, and it was kind of a pretty new initiative, I would imagine, to the community there in Malala, where the project's held. And I know, talking to you when you guys were out there, pitching it to families, people were probably a little bit apprehensive about the project. How is the community viewing the project now that we've had, over 6 months of the kids attending and learning at the project?
Okay, so we had teachers from Singisi, and they came to visit the kids at the center. They're all proud and happy of their kids' progress. So they even want us to expand it more and do it for the whole school.
Yeah, which is extremely exciting. I mean, because when we started this, I mean, we wanted to obviously pilot it. To get it started, we had to start it, on our own, kind of separate from the public school system. But our ultimate goal was to incorporate it into the public schools, because that's the population that we were trying to impact. Our sponsor program is wonderful. The kids there were able to enroll in private schools, and they get all the attention and care that they need and deserve. But as we know, that's resource and time intensive. So to be able to make a broader impact with something like the e-learning, to me, is really, really exciting, and definitely excited to see where that goes. I guess
Can I add on
I
something
have
on
a
that,
few other questions.
Pat?
What's that?
I was saying, can I add in something on that,
Yeah, of
on
course.
the
Go ahead, Mark.
e-learning? Yeah, so how people are taking this project now, you would have to try to imagine that the kids that are in the e-learning project had no English background. They had no English background at all. They do have the English subject in their schools, but it's hugely neglected. So the kids often don't like it. They even skip the exams for the English subject. But with the e-learning so far, we have seen significant changes or progress in the kids' ability to grasp the English language, even though they had completely no English background. In some of the content that we were trying to capture as the project was going forward, some of the kids were struggling even with basic introductions in English, like what is your name, what is your family's, what are your family members' names, how old are you, what do you study, what do you wish to become. None of the kids could give these answers in English. They were struggling. But now they're capable of introducing themselves, they're capable of reading sentences, they're capable of understanding what a teacher is saying. Some are still kind of struggling, but we have a good number of kids who are actually really, really, they're very much improved, I can say. And considering they only have 2 hours of this program per day, you can just try to picture it if this is what they would be doing for most of their time at school. So that by itself is good progress. And we've had requests from parents who, unfortunately, we didn't have the capacity to get all kids at the school, but we've had parents come over and ask their kids to join the program because kids speak and they actually get to see how other kids are able to communicate. Right now, they're capable of constructing English sentences. So it hugely improves their chances of succeeding in secondary school. And that is good progress. And we are having some very positive reception from the parents as well, and the teachers from their school of origin, which is Singisi.
Yeah, well, thank you for that, Mark. I mean, for those that are just joining or just watching now, you know, our fundraiser today on Giving Tuesday is for projects like the e-learning to expand them. Well, obviously, first to continue them into next year because they've been so successful, but then to expand them. So the more support we get today, the farther we'll be able to take those programs, the more kids we'll be able to reach. So thank you for that, Mark. One question, because this always came into my mind early on when I was working over in Tanzania, is, you know, everybody, the native language is Swahili. That's what mostly everyone speaks day to day. Why is English important? Like why does the child's level of comprehension of English matter so much? That was one of the first questions I had when I came over, and I understand it now. But for somebody who's just watching and is new to the work we're doing, why is that important?
Okay. Well, there is no clear explanation why English became very important, because this is an education system. So I don't really have clear answers on why our education system is this way. But basically, a child's education is divided into four, or I can say an individual's education is divided into four. They start with a primary school, which is the first 8 years of school. And then after that, they go to secondary school, which is 4 years. After that, after secondary school, they sit for a national exam. And if you pass, then you go to high school, which is 2 years. And then you sit for another national exam. And then after that, you go to university or college and whatever the higher level of education is. But the weird thing about our country's education system is for those people who are not fortunate to join private schools, they go to public schools because their tuition is free, and it's most people here cannot afford private schools. But the kids there, which is majority of the kids, about 85% of all kids in Tanzania go to public schools. For those first 8 years of school, the primary level, everything is taught in Swahili. Every subject is taught in Swahili. Mathematics is taught in Swahili. Geography is taught in Swahili. History is taught in Swahili. Social studies, home hygiene, everything else is taught in Swahili. But after you finish primary school and go to secondary school, for some reason that I have no clear explanation of, everything is in English. The medium of instruction entirely changes. So this becomes a huge barrier for most of the kids. Secondary school is just 4 years, but about half of the population drops out by the second year because English is too hard. And if you're unfortunate enough to keep on joining a public school, it means other challenges of public schools also come into play, like, you know, overly concentration of kids in one class per teacher. We're speaking of a ratio of 100 students to one teacher in a subject. Teachers don't really pay much attention to the kids' performances because public schools don't really pay well in terms of teachers' wages. So the kids are not motivated, and most of them get convinced that maybe education is not my thing, and they drop out. And the ones that proceed, a huge percentage of them as well, and we actually do have these numbers in some document, they also don't do well in the national exams. They fail. And if you fail here or drop out, you fall into this category of unskilled labor. These are people who are doing the common jobs, and the pay is very low. So this this whole loop of the education keeps us in a constant circle of a huge population being in that category of unskilled labor, which propels the circle of poverty, because most of these people are paid for the jobs they do. We are speaking of, with all due respect, guards and waitresses and taxi drivers. Here, those are very common jobs, and they pay very low. We're talking of
There,
70 to 80. We're talking of $70 to $80 a month as a salary. So it is important to learn English because then it guarantees your success in secondary school. Secondary school now becomes the most crucial part of your educational journey. So the better you are at English, then the better you can grasp all the subjects that are taught there. Physics, history, geography, chemistry, everything is in English, which you did not have this background for the first 8 years of your school life.
yeah, that's I mean, a lot of people over here, those jobs you talk about, you know, some of those jobs you can make a good living on here, but I know in Tanzania that's I forget what the number is. I think it's maybe like 40% unemployment. That if you don't have a you know a skilled or a highly trained education, it's really hard to find those jobs, even if they are common jobs. So I
Yeah,
definitely understand that that's the case, which is why we do the projects we do, especially the e-learning. As Mark was saying, that English is so important for success in secondary school and to continue with education, so that you know, like right now, there's 50% of children are dropping out of secondary school and not continuing. And we hope to change that with our projects. Aneth, I know you spoke earlier about going to public school. What was it about your particular situation and your family and everything else that allowed you to succeed despite um, your environment?
Okay, so I went to a public school for 7 years of primary school. So the difference is my parents could buy me English books. Like whenever I get back from school at home, you have to read the books for you to understand the language. Also, I would go for extra tutoring classes, especially for English subject. Because apart from that, if you join secondary school, it's going to be hard for you. Yeah. So that is what my parents were doing to me.
Yeah, and just so everybody watching knows, I mean, Annette and Mark, you guys could speak to it, but a lot of the kids that are in our, well, even in our e-learning, but in our sponsor program, you know, they they're even if some of them are missing, you know, a parent or two, but even if they have their parents, you know, a lot of them are living in such tough situations that buying the books and it is difficult, let alone paying for extra tutoring classes, which we are pretty much providing through our e-learning program. So trying to give, you know, that extra, you know, incentive and I guess thing needed for the children to succeed, which so far has been working out for us. And I'm very excited when I move here to Tanzania in January to get to work with you guys on a daily basis. Not that we don't talk plenty now, but to really dig in and see where we can take this, because like you, I mean, when I'm there, I see the changes. I have the privilege of, you know, I don't see the children as frequently. So when I see them, you know, say at the beginning of the year and I don't see them for 6 months and I meet the same children, I can tell immediately what the last 6 months of our programs have done, which is really cool to see. Whereas if I was there every day, I might not have noticed it because it is somewhat gradual. Well, I think we're getting here to the end. I guess, you know, first I wanna ask you both before we wrap up, what's your what I guess you could take a pick. What's your favorite part about working for Selfless Solutions, and what do you find as the the biggest challenges of doing the work that we're doing?
Annette, you can go first.
Okay. So my favorite part of working with Selfless Solution is the fact that I get to spend more time with people, because these people, they're real people. So whenever I get time to spend with them, it feels so good because I get to learn so many things apart from what I know. Also, according to whatever challenges they're facing, they're happy people. So it also inspires me to always stay happy regardless of anything that happens in my life. Another thing is the changes that I see, like the positive impacts that we bring to these people. So whenever I go to talk to parents, they will say, "Oh, I'm happy. Thank you so much. My child can now speak English." She even teaches me how to speak English. So it makes me feel good and happy knowing that people are happy and grateful of whatever we're doing. So this is what I enjoy most in my job.
Awesome. How about you, Mark? What do you what's your favorite part of the work we do?
Well, the first thing would be to actually see the impact we're making. As I've spoken earlier about the first time I was talking to these kids in the e-learning program, and the way when I visit the project now and speak to them or try to document their progress in how fluent they're becoming in the language, it makes you feel good that what we were aspiring to do is actually happening. Like these kids now understand English, and with a very, I can say, a very simple and effective method such as just e-learning, the a kid within 6 months who did not know a language at all now can actually speak it. That is one of my favorite parts about Selfless Solutions. When I see that what we are trying to do is actually coming into life, most of the things that we have been trying to do are actually happening. Like more kids are joining the sponsorship program, more people are coming forward to try to sponsor kids. Uh, this one shows me how much we're reaching out to people as much as we dreamt for when we were beginning to work with this organization or when you founded the Selfless Solutions. But the second part is me and the people that I interact with while working towards these goals. All our members from France, all our members from Denmark and the United States. These are people I have never met in person. Well, some of them I have, but most of them I haven't. But we meet in these calls and events, and then we feel like we know each other for some time because of the constant communication we have and the way we relay information and the way we connect together in to make sure that something is successful. That is also another part of well, another favorite part of me working with Selfless Solutions. But the greatest challenges of working with Selfless Solutions or in the community would be, first of all, this is a young nonprofit organization, so most of the things most of the activities that we actually do need a lot of support in terms of funding and personnel, and we don't have a lot of that now. So sometimes it can be a little bit overwhelming that you have to divide yourself to do several things. Uh, it's work that we do for the community, so you have to do it the best you can. But always it's good to have the support of people in terms of resources and in terms of their time. It makes things go way more easier, especially when you're in service of over 100 kids, and maybe there will be more. But our community so far, well, I don't think we have as much challenge as I thought it would be. The reception from the community on the efforts of Selfless Solutions for the sponsorship, for the e-learning is really positive, because also you have to remember that at Selfless Solutions we have when we speak of the e-learning project or the sponsorship program, the organization employs people from here. We're talking about of a third world country where getting a decent job is a challenge. And then even when you get a decent job, getting a decent pay for that job is even a bigger challenge. But Selfless Solutions has created employment opportunities even for a small number of people so far. But it is changing lives, not only for the kids we serve, but also for the people who are actually helping in the actual operations of the organization.
Yeah, thank you for that, Mark. And what you were saying about, you know, not just the kids' lives, but the, you know, the people we're able to provide jobs to as well. I mean, anybody that's watching this right now or will watch this later, I mean, I'm sure they can see how capable you and Annette are, and you know, the rest of our staff that we have is just as capable. So, you know, one of the things that we always talk about, or people ask me is, well, you know, are you going to hire anybody here in the United States or over there in Europe? And you know, they just have to take one listen to you guys and get to know you. That, you know, we don't. Of course, you know, there might be a couple positions we'd have to hire because there's things that need done in country that need in person. But besides that, you know, all of our paid staff currently is from Tanzania, like yourself, and I don't see that changing because, you know, you guys know your country best and are completely capable of achieving the things that we want to achieve. So yeah, I mean, for me, it's definitely very rewarding not only to see the growth of the kids, but also the people that we work with, and like you were saying, you know, dreaming of something is one thing, but actually seeing it play out and be successful is very, very rewarding. You know, when we first started, I did not know where in the world this was going, and to see what it is now, us sitting here talking about it, it is awesome. And, you know, just this, you know, for instance, this Facebook Live where we were jumping on today, I'm like, oh boy, you know, I envision it going like this, but it's first time doing something like this. Who knows how it's going to happen? But to actually see it, you know, I didn't know, oh, is the internet going to hold up? Is the power going to go out? And it's working, and it's awesome to see. And do you have any thoughts about, or if you want to talk about what you think are some of the biggest challenges that we face?
Okay, so another challenge is we have limited resources as Selfless Solutions, but I'll give an example. Right now, for our e-learning program, our capacity is only to take 50 kids, but this time we have over 70 kids. So it's a bit challenging on how to make sure that we accommodate all these kids, because for this program, we offer them food. When they come out from classes, we give them food. So it's challenging to make sure that all these kids get food and how to manage all the 7 kids within the program. Another challenge
Yeah,
is
go ahead.
they're more in need. Like I always receive calls from parents requesting us to take their kids to school, and most of these kids are bright. You can see this child is so bright, but the fact that we can't do that to everyone, it's the biggest challenge that I personally face.
Yeah, that's tough. And for those watching, I mean, that's why we do these fundraisers, because, you know, there are those kids that Annette's talking about, and those families that we see on a daily basis, and that sometimes crowd around the fences of our centers, and we really want to offer them the same opportunities, but right now we just don't have the resources to reach everybody that we need to reach. So that's why it's important for, you know, people to give to things like this, so that we can give the resources to people like Mark and Annette and Seth and Shukrani and Shabani, so that they can make this happen in their communities. So if you can give, please give. I believe the link is somewhere here. Here, I think I can show it actually. I think it might be showing. If not, it'll be in this post after the link to our Giving Tuesday fundraiser. If you can't give, I mean, I understand that there's a lot of different causes. Please share. Somebody else might, and they might give if you share it versus, just coming from us. And I guess that's my last question for you, Mark and Annette, is on Giving Tuesday, just as the rest of the year, there's a lot of other causes that people could donate their time or money to. Why do you think Selfless Solutions is something that they should consider, or why that might be on the top of their list? Can you guys still hear me?
I think you're breaking up, Pat. Can you say that again?
I was asking, did you hear me talking about there's different causes that people could support?
Yeah, it started to act up from there.
Okay. I was just saying there's a lot of different causes that people can support today and always. Why do you think Selfless Solutions deserves to be on that list, or near the top of the causes they consider giving to?
Well, I do know there are a lot of nonprofits now and a lot of campaigns to actually make a difference in the community and solve several problems. But usually people give mostly to something they can relate to, and also they give to things that it depends on how much they are connected through the information that we share. And that is something that Selfless Solutions, we're not perfect yet, but we are trying as hard as we can to make sure we air out all the things we're trying to accomplish and the progress we have done so far. That is why also in the events we have, the fundraisings we've done, and the amount of kids or people that their lives we're trying to touch, we try to broadcast it in the forms of media that are the most common now for most people, the social media and stuff. So I think that by itself is a good reason to support the causes of Selfless Solutions, because you can always keep up with progress and you can always know how much of your contribution is actually impacting people.
How about you, Annette? What are your thoughts on that question?
Okay, so far, what I can say about Selfless Solutions is we have realistic programs. Let's say the e-learning program, the sponsorship. It's what we're trying to do is we're solving the real problems that are happening now in our country, here in Tanzania. So when you give through Selfless Solutions, it's like you'll be able to see the results of your donation and the value of whatever you donated through us. Because the programs are they're long life programs, and the results, they can be seen as we progress.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Mark and Annette. Is there anything else you guys would like to touch upon before we end this? Whether that be discussions about where we go in the future, or just anything else that you want to share with people that are watching or that might be watching in the future.
Well, I would say if you've got a chance to watch this live stream that we've done, you can open your mind to learning more about Selfless Solutions through our website. You can get to know the things we're trying to accomplish, even though we've tried to explain much of them here, but we have, I think we have a decent website, and also we have some good social pages that are trying to update people especially our donors, on what we're trying to do. So have an open mind and try to make follow up on what we're doing. And it would be great if you also joined our efforts.
Thank you, Mark. How about you, Aneth? Any last words?
Okay, so far we are looking forward to expand our programs, because right now we deal most with kids, but hopefully next year we're going to expand and touch the youth and other people in the society. So if you get a chance to support us, do it so that we can impact as many people as we can here in Tanzania.
Yeah, to everybody watching, you know, this funding is going to go to our education projects, but also to, continue to expand our staff and our presence in Tanzania. And by doing so, we're going to be able to unlock a lot of the ideas that Aneth and Mark have already shared with me, that we generate together when we'll be there, in Arusha, day to day, starting in January. And we have a long list of projects that on the horizon, like the e-learning, that we think have a really good chance of being meaningful and really changing things for a lot of people. So I always say that we'll be able to do as many of those projects and reach as many of those people as the amount of support we get, the amount of people that we get behind us. So I like Mark said, extend the invitation for you to join our cause. If you reach out via social media or email, we'll definitely get back to you in a timely manner. So don't be shy. We'd like to hear from you. Thanks for everybody who watched today and that will be watching, and hope you consider us on this Giving Tuesday. Mark and Eth, thanks so much for joining. Really appreciate your time and everything you do.
Thank you so much, Pat.
See you.
See you.